Hello, this is Alan Shipnuck back for another Fire Drill podcast. I am joined by Ryan French and Michael Bamberger. We want to convene this discussion because it's the opening day of the new PGA Tour season, which sounds impossible since they just putted out at the Tour Championship. It feels like anyway. Lots of big stuff happened at Wentworth. Live Chicago is going to kick off later this week. Just seemed like this was the moment to get up to date on everything happening in the golf world. So, Michael, Ryan, thank you for being here. Mike, let's talk about the finish at Wentworth. It was a bang finish. You had Rory McIlroy, you had John Rahm, and then Shane Lowry prevailed. I mean, it seems like somehow the Wentworth event has really become elevated to a different stratosphere in recent years. What is your take on that tournament and where it fits into the larger golf landscape?
Was that a registered trademark use of the word elevated?
Yeah, capital E, correct.
Okay. It felt like an elevated event. I mean, except for one big 54 holes. It's like everything plays towards live in the end, but it was great. I mean, it's a well-known and excellent golf course, a well-known, excellent field. And it kind of proves the point that less would be more. If we had fewer events with more named players on courses you know and care about, you would have better professional golf. That's not where we are, but for that 1 week, it was great. And it was neat to see the deference to the Queen. Ryan and I have been talking about it. We don't really get it, but we get that they get it, and they're doing what they do. So it was a great moment for golf in an unexpected time.
Yes, Ryan. What's the view from Middle America about postponing a golf tournament in mourning of the passing of the Queen?
I was lucky enough to spend 12 hours in a car over the last 2 days prior to Wednesday and Thursday with Michael Bamberger, and we discussed a wide-ranging things. But obviously, the Queen came up, and I mean, she was 96. I don't get it.
And so we broke out into song.
Yeah, we sang Elton John.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say the Sex Pistols. Elton John's probably more preferable.
No, but we don't get it. But Michael said it perfectly. We don't get it, but we get that other people get it. Delaying sports and all that seems wild to me. But I mean, I'm not English, so I mean, Godspeed to them.
I kind of remember. I heard this, about Pete Rozelle, the longtime NFL commissioner. Like the biggest regret of his career was that they played football after JFK's assassination, and that he felt like they should have shut it down. And I don't think the discourse that I landed on was it wouldn't have really been disrespectful to play the golf tournament, but it was a showing of respect not to. And so, in that regard,
A president getting shot and a 96-year-old woman dying are two wildly different things.
Okay, we don't have to go down this rabbit hole, but
okay, all right. What I loved about the event is that golf has like true drama now, and Talor Gooch being in the mix and Patrick Reed being in the mix, like it's somewhat kind of wrestling like. I mean, it is, it's really wild that in golf we have like true drama, true hatred, like true. I mean, I'm kind of indifferent on Liv, but like I was rooting for a Liv guy just to see the awkwardness of the trophy exchange and the awkwardness of the interview and the awkwardness of Pelly giving him the check. I was rooting for just
Alan. That's what we like to hear. He's new to the business, but he's rooting for the story. That's well played, young man. Well played indeed.
Yes. Yeah, Ryan he gets it. We root for chaos. That's our only root. We don't care about the humans involved. We're just rooting for anarchy. Yeah, that was funny. I mean, Talor Gooch, I don't think they showed a shot of his the whole final day. It was unbelievable. He's racing up the board. Same with Reed. The pettiness is unbelievable. I mean, why? Patrick Reed has actually been a great supporter of the European Tour. He's been playing over there a lot in the last 5 years, and he's got the box office from all the Ryder Cup dust-ups. Like, I would think that the global golf audience would kind of like to see him hitting a few shots, but no.
Alan, with all due, hold on. I got to make a quick point here, Ryan, if I may. With all due respect. He is not a great supporter of the European Tour or anything except for getting paid. He plays there to get paid. It all goes the other way. I don't think he's flying the flag of the United States or anything other than his bank account. So I do take exception to that. If I may, but you comment away as you may wish, but I do have a quick question for you. Had this tournament gone the full 72 scheduled holes, how do you think it might have played out?
Oh, probably Rahm wins by 5. But yeah, it's interesting. Both Rahm and Rory have been playing at such a high level, but they're just not getting the wins. I mean, I've seen all these graphics about McIlroy's play since the Masters, and it's terrific. It's nothing but he's been in contention every single week, but he's won only twice, which, including getting skunked at the majors. It's like, I know it's hard to win. We all know it's hard to win, but when you're up there that often, sometimes you just got to grab the mofo trophy. And so, all credit to Rory for flying across the ocean and bringing his A game again. And, he's playing in Italy this week. It's not a tournament he has to play, but he is a supporter of the European Tour. But it's kind of frustrating to see him in contention all the time, but not winning. Are expectations too high? I don't know.
Michael, it's all you. I don't know who Rory McIlroy is, barely.
Well, this has been said before, and probably by all three of us. The one that got away, of course, is that British Open, and it didn't really get away. The guy shot 30 on him on the back nine, and no lead is safe when the guy who's staring you down is shooting 30 on the back nine. But he can't not say he doesn't have a Sunday problem. A 54-hole event's a little different, and it would have been very interesting to see how it played out. I have the feeling he might well have risen to the occasion, but Gooch might have as well, so who knows. But it can't not be in his head at this point. And, of course, when you're a mega talent, like Rory McIlroy is, and you're not getting it done with the regularity that you should when you're in contention for 54 holes or 63 holes, like Tiger was literally, let's say, 110 times in his career and got it done 3/4 of those times, let's say. I can't not be in his head, and it's going to show up at the most inopportune moments, like it did at the old course.
Yeah.
Real quickly, one, Michael Bamberger just called the Open Championship the British Open. Two, do you think that this isn't a real question, do you think there's more pressure on Rory now because of this divide in pro golf, that he is truly the face of the PGA Tour for the most part? I think people look to him as, obviously with Tiger not playing, that Rory's the true face of the tour now that they've divided. Do you think there's more pressure than there was even before? I don't know if that's possible, but it just feels like with this divide that he's become kind of the face, and him not cleaning up on Sundays seems to maybe, hurt a little bit more.
I asked him basically that same question at the Tour Championship a few weeks ago, and he said, all this advocacy and putting myself out there, it's energizing when you get things done and things are going your way, and it's really draining when it goes the other direction. And so I think there's something there. What you're hinting at, Ryan, is I think it's easy for Rory's been doing this for a long time, and I think this has gotten his engine revved a little bit, and he's fired up, and he's probably more ready to play than he has been. But yeah, all of a sudden you keep throwing yourself out there, and it's not happening in that internal battle that Michael was talking about. I think it's helping him and it's hurting him simultaneously, if that makes sense.
I'd just like to say I love Shane Lowry. He's all in on like the discourse in between the two tours. I mean, he's all in. He's like, I don't talk to those other guys. He has taken this, it seems, pretty personally, as I think a lot of players have, but maybe not publicly. And Shane is fully in publicly that this is, he's like, hey, I don't talk to those people anymore. Some of them used to be my friends, and now I don't talk to them at all. So I love that he's kind of taken a personal edge and taking it publicly too. It's as you say. It's fun to dive into the chaos.
Ryan, do you have an insight into why he feels so strongly? Because he didn't grow up on that. He didn't grow up on our PGA Tour or the PGA Tour. Do you have any insight as to why he feels that way?
No, I don't. But I mean, I think through all of this, the DP World Tour or the European Tour they've kind of admitted that they're a feeder tour. And I think if you grew up on, like, when Shane and those guys grew up, they didn't think of it at all like that. And the PGA Tour's kind of made them feel like that, in my opinion. They've kind of accepted it, in my opinion. And so the defections have hurt most, I would say, of the three tours we're talking about, LIV, PGA Tour, and the European Tour, that it's hurt the European Tour by far the most. And so maybe he takes it more personally because it's really affected the European Tour the most, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's good insight. But it's also weird because, like, Michael and I both worked at Golf Magazine, golf.com. In the last few years, we both left it for a better situation, clearly. But we see our old colleagues in the press room, and we rap out with them. Like, we bumped into them on a golf course during open week, and we're happy to see each other. Like, there's no animosity, even though we're repudiating their place of business, and we may in fact put them out of business at some point. But it's like, on some level, all these players are taking it so personally. I find it a little weird. Like, who cares? Like, you're making money, they're making money, everyone's playing golf for a living. Like, what's the big deal? Like, it's great. It's a gift from the content gods yet again. But when people change jobs all the time, and
I agree with that. I mean, you can disagree with it on a political sense, obviously, like the Saudi Arabia standpoint that's been, like, hashed out. But, like, at the end of the day, is anyone really mad that Harold Varner got $30 million and took it, or whatever that number was? Like, is anyone mad? Like, you can be mad that he left the PGA Tour, but, like, Harold was amazingly honest about it. He's like, hey, I will never be able to make this money on the PGA Tour. It's going to change my kids' and my kids' life. It's generational money, and I took it. Like, I don't know who on the PGA Tour would be like, wow, what an asshole. They'd be like, yeah, I kind of get it.
Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon. And, like, I'm going to LIV Chicago, and my intention is to write about Talor Gooch, who was basically a non-entity on the PGA Tour. He was a nice young player that nobody knew about or cared about, it seemed like. And now he's at the center of every storm, and his contract got leaked to the Wall Street Journal. He figured very prominently in the temporary restraining order hearing when he was trying to barge his way into the FedEx Cup. He goes over to Wentworth, where it's been made clear to him that a lot of players don't want him there. He plays his ass off, has risen now back to the mid-30s in the world ranking, probably has enough points that he'll secure a Masters bid by still being in the top 50 at year's end. And it's like, Talor Gooch has somehow become one of the most important people in professional golf all of a sudden. It's wild, and I'm here for it.
Well, see, that's a good point, and it's interesting. And yeah, I didn't even know how to pronounce Gooch's surname or given name prior to this whole thing. You're right. He was just a kind of a nice player. It was interesting that Davis, I think even Alan, when you and I had him on, Davis is like, can't recall the timing, but I know at Davis was at one point, like, I really hope this kid doesn't go. And that was interesting to me that Davis cared so much. But Ryan, just to go back to your point for a second, I see Harold Varner or anybody else differently. This partly reflects my own feeling about the thing, and partly reflects those who are super traditionalists. I support the PGA Tour types like a Fred Couples or a Davis Love or any number of other people. It's really more fundamental, I think, than maybe what you're suggesting, which is this tour made you who you are. The opportunities that this PGA Tour gave you made you who you are, and you're turning your back on it. And I think some people, just on the most basic level, some people resent that.
Michael, I agree with you. I'm not, again, I mean, I obviously don't support, first of all, the Saudi government side, but let's just go with no cut, 54 holes, guaranteed money. Everyone knows listening, that's not my cup of tea. So I have no support of the LIV Tour, but this is true in any other sport. I mean, every other sport, like, there is no loyalty. That's gone. I mean, I know Albert Pujols is back with the Cardinals, but he left the Cardinals, and every major sports star in every major sport besides golf leaves. I mean, for the most part, very few people play one place in one career. It's new to golf, so I get that people are torn. Obviously, the political side of it makes it even more. But at the end of the day, if Stephen Curry leaves the Warriors, is anybody on the Warriors really going to be mad? No, because when they're in a free agent and they get a big check to go to another team, they're going to go. So I appreciate what you're saying, Michael. I agree with what you're saying. I just don't think it's that. I just don't see why the players are so mad about it.
The franchise in the NBA is the NBA, not so much the individual team. Individual fans of individual cities are going to be annoyed and upset. But the NBA is not going to hurt as a result. Here, it's more an affront to the actual league itself, leaving the league to go to another league. If Pujols had gone to Japan and then wanted to come back to Major League Baseball, that would be roughly more the equivalent, not staying within the Major League teams.
Fair.
Yeah, that is a distinction. But I don't know. I mean, if you grow up rooting for a team and they draft a young player and they nurture him and they develop him and they pour all these resources into making him a great player, and then he leaves for another team like that, that's sort of analogous as well. So I think the metaphor works either way. But it's just, it's amazing how this just keeps going. And all the guys playing over.
The pettiness is amazing. Like taking Cam Smith's picture down. Like, what are we doing? Like, we're children. We're like, it's amazing, and I'm here for it. I mean, like, is that really what we're doing? Like, we have to go out now. The PGA Tour has a million things to worry about, and someone called somebody at Sawgrass and was like, "You got to take Cam's
parking
pass down." I mean, it's a next level pettiness.
That's what's so great.
Well, Ryan, how would you have voted on Player of the Year, Scheffler versus Cam, or anybody else you might suggest?
I would have voted for Carl Yuan from the Korn Ferry Tour. I'm not voting for. I mean, it's probably Scotty, but I don't. Honestly, Michael, this is the honest truth. I don't watch outside of the majors. Don't watch very much PGA Tour golf, unless a grinder of some sort is in place. Like Wentworth is. I watch 3 holes. I just don't have much. The rich getting richer is just not that much interest of interest to me. I understand. I always say this as people get on this and go, "Oh, I can't believe it." Like, I understand why people want to watch it. I get it. I'm talking personally. Watching the $1 million he won at Wentworth changes his life zero. The only reason it has a little more meaning is because of the drama in golf right now, and the fact that people really, really, even the top players really, really want to win now to stick it to the other tour. Live guys want to stick it to the PGA guys and the European guys and vice versa. So I do like that part of it. There is a sense of drama that wasn't there before. I mean, when Billy Horschel won last year, no one really cared. I mean, all these tournaments have some meaning because of the discourse in golf.
But I'm glad you brought that point up, Michael, because you wrote an excellent column for firepitcollective.com about the Player of the Year voting. And I personally would have given the award to Cam Smith. I mean, he had one of the signature blowouts of the year to start at Kapalua, which is, I think, one of the best courses on tour. And then, the PGA Tour is hurting themselves in this debate because they've insisted for so long now that the players should be a major championship. Well, in that case, Cam Smith won 2 majors. He won the Players and he won the biggest tournament of the year, which is the Open at St. Andrews. That's bigger than the Masters. It's bigger than the U.S. Open. When the Open is at St. Andrews, it is the crown jewel of the sport, and every player talked about it. And Cam won that in a legendary performance. And Scheffler was terrific, but he could have ended the debate at the Tour Championship, and he kind of shrank from the moment. And for me, Cam Smith is Player of the Year. And when the Golf Writers Association of America, we get our ballots, that's what I'm going to vote for. And so we once again, the writers may have to rectify a wrong, but there was of course a political undercurrent to the Player of the Year voting, as Ryan is suggesting. Like, tease that out a little bit, Michael. Like, how did how did this current moment get reflected in the Player of the Year?
It's a really interesting debate, and I'm totally with you. An Open anywhere is obviously a great achievement, but an Open at the Old Course rises to another level. And I would say, just in terms of a crowning achievement of one's career, it is more significant to win an Open. It's kind of ridiculous to say, but it's harder to win an Open at the Old Course. It's a bigger field. It's a tougher field. It's a quirkier golf course. As you know, Alan, because you're in the piece, and we had this discussion. We've been down this road before, where these votes have gotten politicized. And Alan, to your point, not to rehash the whole thing, but 2013, Tiger had a funky year, won 5 times on the PGA Tour, and by a vote of his PGA Tour brethren, was named Player of the Year. But the writers who look at, or in our case, the Golf Writers Association of America, we're supposed to look at the whole year, playing the whole world, and we voted for Adam Scott as Player of the Year. I have a vague memory that he won in Australia once, or maybe more than once that year. But as we've been discussing, Alan, it shows how this Live PGA Tour thing has politicized, and its tentacles are reaching all through golf. And we're definitely going to see it at the next major, which not the President's Cup, which is not a major, but the Masters. If it's down the stretch, if it's Talor Gooch and Bubba Watson and Dustin Johnson, and then Rory McIlroy and guys who are bedrock PGA Tour supporters, that Augusta National is going to be rooting its bottom off for a PGA Tour player to win, where that would not have been the case. Hideki or anybody else, that would not have been the case a year ago.
Well, and yeah, it's in your piece, but like, to me, this Player of the Year result is the beginning of how we have to rethink all these traditional status markers in golf. Because what does it mean to get to #1 in the world ranking right now, when the best player in the world, Cam Smith, is not going to be accruing points? And what does it mean to get in the top 50 when there's a dozen top 50 players playing Live who are not getting points? And so, if you win PGA Tour events going forward, does it have the same meaning as in the old days? Like, say, the Peak Tiger. Like, let's say some kid comes along next year, and or any player for that matter, wins like 9 times, and they're comparing it to like the great PGA Tour seasons of all time. Well, does it have the same meaning because so many top players aren't there now? And so, yeah, no. The answer is no. So we got.
Alan, when you were posting that, were you saying on the PGA Tour or on the Live Tour?
Well, either way.
Exactly.
I'm saying,
either way, right?
Yeah, winning a PGA Tour event doesn't mean as much if you don't have to beat Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka and Cam Smith and all these other guys. And of course, I saw some discourse around Talor Gooch, how well he's playing. Great finish at Wentworth, and he's finished top 10 in all 4 Live events. And it was really the first time I've seen that even cited, where someone used Live results in a serious way. But like, Talor Gooch is playing at an extremely high level. I mean, to finish top 10 4 in a row against a short field at 54 holes is not easy to do. Like, you can't afford even one bad round. And so he's playing great, but do we cite those Live results as having meaning or not? I don't know. I don't know where we are on this whole thing.
I agree.
Go ahead, Ron.
No, go ahead, Michael. I'm going to listen to you.
Nope.
Stalemate.
I refuse. Okay. Real quickly, why we can interrupt each other and stand all over our great producer, Jake, who's behind the scenes, you can't see us, would like to remind us that PowerPoints app that is the sponsor that makes this all possible. Look, Bamberger's giving me the thumbs up for this transition into our sponsor. But PowerPoints is a great app, awesome new way to play golf. Usually Alan does this, and I usually make fun of him. So I hate that I have to do it now that Jake texts me, because I'm going to probably screw it up and Alan will make fun of me. But PowerPoints is an awesome way, a new way of scoring on the golf. Download the app right now and make par. So thanks to PowerPoints. Michael, your turn now.
Ryan, have you met the guys?
I have. They're wonderful.
You did well, Ryan, and whatever you messed up, I wouldn't bring it to light, because I have respect for the process and I have respect for the sponsor.
Fair enough.
Alan, may I pose a question?
Yes, please.
Okay, this conversation, it's interesting / tedious.
Yes.
It shows the conversation itself is proof that live golf has been a tremendously disruptive factor in golf already. Disruption does not happen on its own.
Yep.
Disruption, let's not go political, but we all know what I could say here. Disruption happens willfully with a goal. And I know I've been down this road before, Alan. I know you're reporting it as best you can, and it's difficult to report. Who is benefiting from this disruption, and what is their end game? That's my question to either of you.
Well, the players are benefiting because literally billions of dollars is getting poured into professional golf that didn't exist before. So clearly, the players, their families, their agents, the caddies, the swing coaches, the entire ecosystem of professional golf is benefiting. And that trickles all the way down to the Asian Tour and the International Series, which is now much better capitalized. It's become a launching pad for a lot of young players who are trying to make it. You would think at some point the tour is going to have to pour more money into the Korn Ferry and Latin America and Canada to try and keep up. I mean, so professional golfers are benefiting. I don't think there's any question about that. Are fans benefiting? I mean, it's certainly it's been a very juicy year. There's been a lot of energy around the sport that didn't exist before, and we know from our own metrics when these stories come out about live golf, people are reading them. So right now, they're getting to watch on YouTube commercial-free high-level golf. I think some of them are enjoying it. The tour is going to have to improve its product, clearly. So the players are definitely benefiting. I think the fans are probably benefiting. The typing class like us is certainly benefiting because it's been so much to talk about. But yeah, I mean, I know what you're getting at from a geopolitical macro sense, Michael. Like that becomes an interesting question. Is no one really knows the Saudis' end game because they haven't said it out loud. I've been trying to get interviews with some of the top guys who are involved in this live effort. Hopefully that'll still happen. I would like to hear it from them, but the sports washing is it's interesting because there's been more scrutiny around Saudi Arabia and its influence in the world than ever before in a sporting context because people are asking hard questions and they're looking at this stuff. So I don't know if the sports washing is working or not. It may be backfiring because there's been so much criticism of Saudi Arabia and people are tuned in and have been forced to think about it in a different way. But certainly the Saudis have gotten a seat at the table at professional golf, what they really wanted. And so in that regard, it's been successful. So I don't know. A lot of people are benefiting, but how it's going to play out in the long term is still unknown. What are your thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I think in the short term, the answer is everyone has won. We've won. Obviously, the media has tons to talk about. This time of year would be very, very boring if it was not this fight. Players have won. Players that either left or stayed have won. But I'm concerned in the long run that we are headed for 2 live tours, or the Saudis believe that they don't want to do this anymore and they're sick of spending money and they get out, and then there's a huge fight of where these players go and they might not be allowed back or they are allowed back, or the PGA Tour doesn't exist and the Saudis keep going. I don't think this is sustainable as it stands. So I'm concerned about, obviously, the guys I cover. I'm concerned for them because they are, whether people like it or not, they're getting squeezed out. And I'm afraid that this tour within a tour model just doesn't have a lot of legs. I'm not sure why these sponsors would want to spend millions of dollars for an event with no top players. They already have that. That's called the Korn Ferry Tour. And I don't know if it's sustainable. The short-term answer, everyone wins. The long-term answer, maybe a lot of people don't win. So I think right now everyone wins. I mean, Harold Varner just got $30 million. Talor Gooch got 50 or whatever. Everybody's getting paid. All the top players are getting paid. In fact, guys that I cover, if they got their card, they're getting $500,000. I mean, like just handed to them right now. And that's wild. So I hope that all the money doesn't lose touch with what a lot of us love about pro golf. So the short term, everyone wins. In the long term, I hope not just a small group of.
Well, Ryan, I think that last point for me is the key one. I think professional golf has taken a hit through this, and I think it showed a greedy underbelly to professional golf. And I know I probably have romanticized my attachment to professional golf for a lot of years now, but this whole thing has demeaned professional golf to me. So I think professional golf is in a worse place because of all the disruption rather than a better place. I would take a different view.
I think very short term. I've also been disappointed, Michael, with and Alan, with like some of the top players kind of forgetting where they came from. I use Billy Horschel a lot. You know, Billy likes to say that, you know, the top players should get paid and all those kind of things. Billy Horschel went to Q school 4 times. Okay, he couldn't literally sniff keeping his card, and now all of a sudden he's all for, you know, 70 guys and limited field events and all that kind of thing. So I had this discussion with John Manganese on Twitter, and he said, you know, if you finish 60th on the Canadian Tour, you shouldn't make money. You should probably just quit. And then I just sent a list of them, of people that have finished, you know, Joel Damon or Max Homa or whatever, the long list of players that take time to develop. So yeah, it's been. I agree with you, Michael. I think very short term it is, but we'll see what happens.
Well, that's really well said. So in addition to, we have the live event in Chicago, we're coming off of Wentworth. There's another big thing happening, which is the start of the new PGA Tour season in Napa. And today is the first Monday qualifier. And Ryan, as I understand it from talking to you offline, this is a mega Monday. Like, why are these Mondays in this fall going to be so stacked?
Yeah. First of all, the Mondays. So if you lost your Corn Fair, so it's going to be deep in the Monday weeds. So I can just hear people.
That's why you're here.
The non-nerds. Yeah, the non-nerds. Yeah, they're like, oh, this is the end of the podcast. So so if you finish below 75th, you technically below 85th, you technically lost your Corn Ferry card, but you keep it till the end of the calendar year. And to get into a Monday, you must be a Corn Ferry member. So everybody was on the Corn Ferry Tour but lost their card is technically a still member. So they're trying to take their last shot at glory by getting into a Monday, getting into a PGA event, and, you know, changing their life. So you have all those guys. You have every current Corn Ferry member. They don't have anything to do. They don't play anything till January. So they might as well go take a shot at a Monday. And, you know, you have, I mean, so that makes up a, like, great Mondays right now. I mean, it's basically a mini Corn Ferry event every week. And then you have the mixture of normal vets. Aaron Badley, 5-time PGA Tour winner, is a Monday grinder nowadays. Grayson Murray, everybody loves to hate. I mean, it's a long list of people that, you know, you would know. DJ Trahan, Ted Purdy, Steve Allen, Brian Davis, the regular veterans. So these are always great Mondays. And then I will also say, this is obviously the end of the fall series now, whatever next year is going to be. But these events are vital to these 50 guys that just got their tour cards, either back or earned it on the Corn Ferry Tour. They have to move up in the reshuffle, or they don't want to move down if they're up. And so it's kind of wild that 2 weeks after their season ended, they're going to play some of the most important events of their season in the next couple of weeks, because they're going to get into all the events and they have to play well, because the reshuffle comes in 5 or 6 weeks, and they need to get multiple starts. If they finish down, if they miss all these cuts, finish way down, they're going to get 10 starts the rest of the year, 12 starts the rest of the year. So this is a very important week. I love that there's a week off in between. It used to be just roll from the Corn Ferry Finals to this week. A lot of unfair to these guys, but yeah, this is an important week and the Mondays this fall are always great.
Yeah, well, and it's a little bit of preview of the 2023 tour schedule, right? There's gonna be these mega events that all the stars are committed to, but there's gonna be a lot more of these other events, which are in some ways the purest form of golf competition. It's 72 holes, it's stroke play, it's guys playing for their livelihoods. There's an era, an air of desperation, and it's really the ultimate meritocracy. So while these fields are not going to have many big name players, it's going to be super compelling golf. So this will be the test. Like, are you a hardcore golf fan? Are you watching the Fortinet Championship this week? You're not going to get Rory. You're not going to get JT. You're not going to get any of the live guys, obviously. And but there's going to be a lot of good accomplished players and fighting hard. So this is the beginning of the new reality on the PGA Tour, where 2/3 of the events are going to feel like these.
Super, Ryan, in the weed question, but these Monday qualifiers, they're not the property of the PGA Tour. Tell me if that's correct. Are they typically run by sectional PGA of America sections? And if that is the case, can they?
They're run by, yes.
Can the sections prevent a live player from Monday qualifying, as unlikely as that is?
So that is a great debate, because the article, the letter sent to players, Jay said you can't get into a field based on your status or a sponsor's exemption or any other way. So there is some. The best guess from the people I talked to is that even if the section allowed them to play, they would just not be allowed to play in the PGA Tour event if they got through. So, yes, they're run by the section, but there's very little debate that they would ever get into the event, even if they were allowed to play in the Monday. So, that was the question I wanted to ask Phil at the original U.S. Open press conference, and Christine Brennan ruined my thunder and read a paragraph and a half question, and I didn't feel like after that asking about Monday qualifiers was appropriate.
Well, this is, again, in the education of Ryan French. Like, you have to overcome all of the press room challenges, including a Christine Brennan filibuster. So that's on you. You should have rose to the occasion.
I apologize.
This again, since we're in the weeds with the czar of all Mondays, why does the PGA Tour not take over the Monday qualifiers? To me, it's kind of weird that they farm them out to the PGA of America, which is a totally different organization.
You're not going to believe this.
Why does the Tour not run these?
You're not going to believe this, everybody, but it's because the PGA Tour makes a shitload of money on Mondays, and there's no reason for them to do it. They let other people do it. They take most of the entry fee from it. They get very wealthy from it, and that's the fact of the matter. The PGA section has to give a large portion of the entry fee to the PGA Tour, then the rest to the golf course, very little to themselves. Most PGA sections that I've talked to, that if they have to travel, if they have to have their staff travel away from their base, they break even at best on Mondays. The person who gets wealthy, that would be the PGA Tour. So that's the reason. It's quite shifty of the PGA Tour to be able to collect a large portion of an entry fee that for an event they don't run.
I am shocked. I am absolutely shocked.
It is shocking. It's shocking news.
But I mean, again, like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are the deadest days of the golf week. Like, you would think that if the Tour took these over, they could play them at TPCs and more legit courses, and it could be like a whole thing. Like, it just seems like a missed opportunity in their business model. Like, these are their players, and they're trying to get into their events. I don't really understand why they haven't invested more in the Mondays.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely changed. We don't have to get into that story, but a person helped, and his followers helped make Monday a thing, and now they cover it. They cover it by themselves from a social media perspective. So I foresee a time. I mean, obviously the landscape of golf is changing greatly. So who knows what's coming up next with only 70 players exempt, and does that mean Mondays are back to the rabbit days and all those kind of things? So it's an interesting thing, but Yeah, I can see that happening at some point, Alan. I mean, I always have said is that the guys that I cover and girls on the LPGA side are so much more willing to do other things that it wouldn't have to be a traditional broadcast or anything like that, but guys would wear mics and they don't give a shit. You can mic up their caddy and them. They don't have anybody to answer to. You could interview them in the middle of the round. I've done all of these things. So I think from whether it's social media wise or, a 10-minute clip about what Mondays do, I think you could do a lot of interesting things broadcasting wise. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them do more stuff going forward.
Ryan, what is Patrick Reed's standing in the culture of Monday qualifiers? And maybe you could sum up for our listeners why he's a legend in the annals of Monday qualifying in the first place.
I mean, he is, he's the ultimate Monday qualifier. He turned it into who he is now. I mean, he got a few sponsors exemptions, but his reputation was not great back then. And so exemptions were hard to come by. He qualified 6 times, I think in 8 tries. Justine was on the bag for him. And a lot of that time he played well after that, Michael, too. So he would make the cut on Sunday, fly to the next course, late Sunday night, get in early Monday morning, get up and shoot 66 again and do it again and again. He's the ultimate successful Monday qualifier for sure. TJ Vogel's someone I talk about all the time. Made 8 in 1 year, but didn't do much with it. But yeah, he's the ultimate Monday qualifier for sure. Have people tagged me since this Matt Moreau story came out and made me try to find who he played with in those Monday qualifiers and whether everything was on the up and up? Yes, a lot of people have tagged me in that and asked me that.
I was just going to go there. Because you're talking about no fans, no TV cameras.
Yes,
his fiance is his caddy. This is the problem with when you have a series of rules violations like Patrick Reed has.
Yes.
It makes you rethink everything. And
Monday qualifiers are, quite frankly, quite easy to cheat at. It's you and at most 6 people in a group, meaning most of the time not everybody has a caddy. There's 2 rules officials covering the entire front 9. The entire 18. There's very often no volunteers. There's, between 3 and 6 people in a group. You hit it left and the other 2 guys hit it right. Pretty easy.
I would like to point out that this is protected free speech and that we are in no way suggesting that we have any evidence of any sort that Patrick Reed has ever done anything untoward in any Monday qualifier or any other tournament, except for the one in Albany where we all saw it on TV.
100%.
And no, it's, for
and
sure.
the time in the books and all that kind of stuff. But yeah.
No, it's I guess, I'm thinking about what you said earlier in the pod, Michael, about professional golf has been diminished. And it is interesting, Ryan's beat unwittingly has become about these shysters who are stealing money, running these mini tour events, and they just disappear. And then cheating incidents. And then you've got all the players, just slavishly chasing after the dollars. Not all. Some have taken a somewhat principled stance, although they've been induced by PGA Tour dollars to stay. But it is an interesting moment in the game where I guess some of that romanticism has been exploded, and maybe it's part of professional golf growth, right? As if it's going to really reach this global audience, and it's going to have these 2 different tours, and it's going to be on the business page and the front page. This time that we move past our romanticism and see it for what it is, which is a game full of human beings who are inherently flawed, and there's going to be some messiness. I don't know. I know it makes you melancholy.
It does. I know I've said this a million times, but it is the underpinning of the whole thing. If we don't believe the scores, we don't have professional tournament golf in the first place. And I would put, that's 1A. But 1B is, if it's only about the money, then why should we care? Because we're not getting anything out of it. In other words, if it's and the reason a lot of us are still attracted to the old equipment is because golf was harder. When Alan and I had a conversation with another writer recently. I'm not going to reveal his name for reasons Alan will understand, who talked about one particular shot played by Tommy Bolt. Do I have the name correct? Was it Bolt that he was describing? And it was the lie and what he was going to do with it and how he was going to fly it. And that is the attachment for us to professional golf. What they're going to do with the golf ball, what they're going to do to beat the course, to beat the other guy, whatever it might be. The money comes as a result. And the starting point has to be the score is sacred, we believe it. And the money is a byproduct of the excellence. Those are the 1 and 2 factors that make us drawn to professional golf. The reason Ryan's beat is so great is because they still have that. Jaime, our friend Jaime Diaz, used to say this all the time, that if you wanted that spirit of the PGA Tour, he says to me, Michael, that you grew up on in the 70s, now you're going to find it on Korn Ferry. And that's what Ryan is kind of in his own way discovering now. So yes, Alan, I think you're right about a sort of melancholy tone for me, because I do think there's something under attack here, fundamental about the greatness of the game. And we've already seen it not already, that's be unfair. I fear we're going to see it filter down to a great institution like the Masters. Say what you want about Augusta National, and we could all say a lot about it, but they do put on a great springtime tournament. It does welcome us to the new golf season, and we do have special attachment to the guys who have won it. We know what they did to win it because we watched it, and it's hard and it's interesting. And then they gather as comrades or colleagues on that Tuesday night for that dinner, and now that dinner's different. So there is a lot going on here, and I don't view it as a positive at all.
Where's Gary Player going to sit? I'm going to say he's going to be seated with the live guys.
They might as well put up a fence and put him right on it, because he's been teetering back and forth. Don't fall down, Gary.
Wow, that was heavy. Michael got heavy on us right there.
It's a gift from the content gods, because this is just a boring Monday in September. The Masters is many months away. It's not a Ryder Cup year. What would we really be talking about? But this has been quite a lively podcast.
Do you know there used to be a Saturday Night Live bit where they'd have like the 2 fuddy-duddy ladies on some PBS type show in New England, and they had a listenership about 3, and it was so bad and so obscure that Saturday Night Live could turn it into a bit. I'm afraid they might turn our whole thing into a bit. Like, these guys think they're talking to an audience. There is no audience. There's just each other.
I was telling Michael Bamberger, Alan, this is how our podcasts go. They get off the rails. Michael Bamberger, I asked him as we were playing together on last Monday. I said, "How many presidents have you met?" And he counted them up, and he said 5 or whatever he said. And then I mean, his Rolodex is a who's who of who's who, and I said, "Man, you are now playing golf at Alpena Golf Club with Monday Q Info." I'm not sure this is a testament to where your career has gone. It's just like, holy shit. You've interviewed Jerry Ford. I mean, man, I'm so sorry, Michael. I don't even know what to say. I feel so inadequate around your presence. By the way, the 12 hours, and this is honest, this is the truth. The greatest, I tried my best. I don't shut up often. I tried my best to shut up and just listen. And the guy has taught me a lot. Both of these people on this podcast have taught me a lot.
That's very nice to say. The only thing I'm going to say in response to that is I did have multiple telephone numbers for Sam Snead.
There you go.
That's a podcast in itself that Sam Snead had multiple phone numbers.
Yeah, he had the burner. He was way ahead of his time on the burner phone.
Yeah, he had a second phone ahead of everybody else.
I think that's true.
He had a summer residence and a winter residence.
That's what he told you.
People once did.
Likely story. All right. Well.
Wow, dogs are.
That's not a signal. I don't know what is.
1 second.
Oh God.
No, not 1 second.
Yeah. Oh no.
Adios.
Oh my God. Please be someone amazing. Please be someone amazing.
It's Sam Snead.
I'm having lunch with my dad. All right. Despite what you said earlier, people do listen to these podcasts, and I think it's time to release them. So All right. This has been another fire drill.
Go
ahead, Mike.
I I would like to just say very briefly, hi, Mr. Shipnuck. Years ago, 20 years ago, there was a U.S. Open and Olympic, and a guy came around, and he was fit, and he looked like he had been rock climbing or surfing that day. And I said to Shipnuck, "Who's your buddy?" And Alan said, "It's my dad." And anyway, nice to see your dad in circulation.
Yeah, 82, still going strong. All right. This was good fun. We'll see what Jake leaves in the edit or not, because there were a few diversions, but that's what we do. We will keep these fire drills coming. And for Ryan French and Michael Bamberger, this is Alan Shipnuck signing off. Thanks for listening. Thank you, PowerPoints, and we'll do it again soon.